Well, I guess we gotta keep going, because how many different scenarios can you make with a shrink ray?
This is getting weird.
This one's plot is so contrived. Wayne Zielinski, again played by Rick Moranis, and his wife Diane, now played by Eve Gordon because Marcia Strassman didn't want to come back, have an argument because Wayne wants to keep this giant tiki man, but she doesn't, so she goes out on a short weekend holiday while Wayne sends his son Adam, now played by Alfalfa, and his brother's kids to the shop while they try to shrink the tiki man, but oops, they shrink themselves!
Sounds like the machine is ramping up again. Yeah, don't worry, there's nobody in the house to hit the button.
There wasn't anyone to do it in the first film either. He's learned nothing in 3 movies! And it literally happens because of the exact same thing again. But oops, his wife and sister-in-law forget the kid's medication, so they come back and nobody is there. So oops, they check out the attic and the shrink ray isn't in storage anymore for some reason. So oops, they just so happen to stand in the exact spot for long enough to oops, be shrunk, and the kids for some reason don't question this and assume they've been left home alone for the weekend. Oops! Yeah, if you had to stretch your disbelief for the last 2 films, buckle up.
You're kidding.
Carrie Kirkpatrick was working on James and the Giant Peach at the time, but was called in to write the script for a third Honey, I Shrunk the Kids movie. But once it was sent over to Jeffrey Katzenberg at Disney, the studio decided they didn't want to make the film after all. The movie was left in the abyss for months while the Giant Peach movie was finished. But during production, Disney began releasing direct-to-video sequels like The Return of Jafar and Aladdin and the King of Thieves. So they wanted to give it a go with live-action sequels as an experiment. Honey, We Shrunk Ourselves was the first.
How do you like that?
Writers Nell Scoville and Joel Hodgson were brought in to tweak the script to bring the budget requirements down, as in the original screenplay the parents were going to accidentally fall into an aquarium and the party was going to involve 150 kids and not just a handful. The original script would have cost $40 million, but when this was changed to direct-to-video it was dropped to only $7 million.
Okay, then it's settled.
Moranis was the only actor who came back, though this was his final live-action performance before retiring. The twins who played Adam in the last movie never acted in another film again, but not enough time had passed between movies anyway. Amy O'Neill and Robert Oliveri, who played Amy and Nick in the first 2, had both retired from acting, so they also didn't come back. The movie was the directorial debut of Dean Cundley, but he had previously worked on a lot of other popular films in the past. But hey, they also had a 2-year-old Mila Kunis and Alison Mack. Oh, this one's awkward.
Any other questions?
Yeah, can I have some friends over?
I want to lock them all up and exploit them for sex.
It is not okay.
Honey, We Shrunk Ourselves was released on March the 18th, 1997. Also, what's with the title? Honey, We Shrunk Ourselves? I think this is on you, Wayne.
No, Wayne!
But received mostly negative reviews. Die-hard fans of the series seemed to somewhat enjoy it, but overall others found it a shell of the original, and just lacking in the charm and creativity, as well as the poor special effects due to the declining budget.
Must be an acquired taste.
It's pretty much doomed from the beginning, as they broke the trend and don't have an animated opening credits sequence, the party poopers.
Oh my gosh, I gotta go.
So what? I thought you were the president.
I am the president. The presidents have less freedom than anybody. And they don't have any fun.
I don't know, Bill Clinton sure did. So Wayne still isn't famous in this one.
I didn't know your dad invented a shrink ray.
How does nobody know about the guy whose kid terrorized Las Vegas? But they went from nobody knowing about a shrink ray to living in the fucking future. Look at these inventions!
Say hi, Trouser.
Hello. The movie just doesn't have any charm behind it. The entire film exists because Wayne wants to keep a damn statue. That's it. It's just lame. And considering we're now 3 films in, Wayne knows that the shrink ray works, and yet he's surprised every time it works.
It worked! It worked!
It works! It works! Shit, they didn't work! And if you found it hilarious the first 17 times someone fainted when they saw the results of the shrink ray,
And I was just...
Oh no!
Are you gonna stay mad at me the whole time we're tiny, or are you gonna try and make the best out of a bad situation?
I'm gonna stay mad at you the whole time.
Okay, that was funny.
Of course, as soon as the kids realize we're gone, they'll be very upset.
And that. There actually is a very funny and clever moment where the young boys are secretly reading a magazine and say that their parents would kill them if they knew what they were looking at. So you naturally assume it's porn, but then it turns out to be Sports Illustrated. That is brilliant. But you wait until you hear these crazy plans that these kids have in store when their parents are away.
I am gonna play my music really loud. I'm not gonna wear any socks.
He is out of control. Somebody sort him out. It all happens because Wayne leaves a voicemail to his wife, but they misunderstand and think it's for them and assume they've left them alone. But why would they think that and not question it? The movie just seems pointless. The second one tried something new, but this is practically the first movie again with less interesting characters, swapping the roles and with worse special effects. I mean, it does look pretty cool when they ride the Hot Wheels, but other than that, but for a scientist, Wayne isn't very bright. A cockroach shows up, scorpions in the garden, cockroaches in bedrooms. Where the hell do these tramps live?
It won't be that bad.
But Wayne is literally wielding a sharp weapon, but then just doesn't use it and runs away. It's not like a garden, you're inside a house. This shouldn't be that deadly. He's also a pretty terrible husband. Diane clearly screams for help and then he tries to run away. There's no way he didn't hear that. In fact, later on, Diane and her mate spot a daddy longlegs that is clearly stuck and they decide to hide from it. But then they wonder why it's not attacking before realizing it's stuck. All these characters are either deaf or blind. And they keep calling it daddy, which makes me very uncomfortable.
Daddy, come back! We need you!
And I think this movie is actually the poster child for daddy longlegs.
Daddy longlegs are good bugs. They eat mosquitoes and leave humans entirely alone.
One of the boys, Mitch, who looks like Matthew Lawrence from Mrs. Doubtfire, has some potassium deficiency and refuses to take his meds because he ain't no bitch. But he starts to be in pain and it does get quite dark. At one point he actually collapses. Look, I'm no doctor, but I'm pretty sure just shoving some small bits of banana in his mouth wouldn't work this quickly.
How'd you know bananas have potassium?
Drake and Josh.
What a waste of potassium.
The parents end up using bubbles to get down the stairs as apparently it's the quickest way. I mean, surely they could just climb down the stairs and it'll be just as quick. Gravity would do most of it, but whatever. And despite being distant the entire movie, Wayne and Diane suddenly have a sweet moment together. To be fair, there is some slight charm as the parents fall back into their youth and feel like kids again, but these moments are so rare it almost doesn't even matter.
And the man does a belly burner! I haven't done that since I was little.
I think the writers just didn't see the original film. Wayne was able to spot the kids in front of him in a cereal bowl, but now all of these girls are looking down at the dip and none of them can see them. Some popular boys show up and what a surprise, they're douchebags. One even forces a kiss on the weird sex dungeon girl and then we enter an after-school special.
You just assumed that I wanted you to kiss me. I mean, I don't even know you. And even if I did know you and we talked and you got to know me and you asked me if I wanted to kiss, I might have been into it. But the way you did it was just wrong.
Well, lots of girls like that.
Wow. But Mitch literally tells them that he saw their mums but tiny and they shrug it off as a hallucination. But why? Your parents have vanished and you know your dad is a shrink ray. At least check. Wayne's brother does end up using a stereo to boom his voice and pretends to be God to scare the kids away, and alright, that is kind of funny. Strangely, the same year this movie came out, we also got a TV spin-off which was actually pretty good. It was a fun little addition to the franchise and severely underrated, and the series became a Disney park attraction in 1999, but just when we thought the series would die there, it came back. Once the dust settled and everybody forgot about these movies, in February 2018, a reboot was announced. However, a year on, this was changed to a legacy sequel because we just can't get enough of those. Josh Gad was hired as Nick Zielinski and Joe Johnston even brought back to direct. Furthermore, in February 2020, Rick Moranis confirmed that he was coming out of retirement to reprise his role as Wayne 23 years after the last film. COVID slowed down the process, but allegedly production resumed in 2022. But if you're wondering how they can make a fourth movie based on a premise as simple as accidentally shrieking your kids, I'm sure it'll be incredibly original and creative, and it's allegedly about Nick following in his father's footsteps, becoming an inventor and accidentally shrinking his kids. Son of a bitch! Why can't all these legacy sequels be like Bill and Ted 3? The movie isn't that great, it's just pointless. It does have some funny moments, and sometimes there's very brief moments of charm, but overall it's boring, uncreative, and it's just sort of there. I'm pretty sure I'll forget this movie even existed a week after watching it, and I'm sure I'm not the only one.
It's the awkward part now because I've got to do it again. But I've got to wait for this to reset.